Do you have the appropriate cash flow that you need to start your business? Are you a part of the 39% of entrepreneurs who rely on their own funds in order to start their business and get it off the ground? Or the 10% of entrepreneurs who rely on friends and family for financial help? Or the 24% of business people who depend on loans and other funding in order to get your business off the ground? All of this according to Small Business Genius. If you're looking for a way to secure money and your ideal client for your new or existing business, this conversation I had with Brian Kelly may just be right up your alley. He's the founder and CEO of Reach Your Peak. Entrepreneurs hire Kelly in order to stand out in the marketplace and attract a steady stream of their ideal clients because most of them are simply frustrated that they can't come up with a winning formula on their own and figure out their secret sauce. Kelly says it's important to put yourself out there when it comes to podcasts and live shows. He's also the host of the Mind, Body, and Business Show, where he brings experts in the field of entrepreneurship onto his show to help aspiring and current entrepreneurs crack the code to running a successful business and attracting your ideal clients. Are you intrigued to learn more? Well, if you answered yes, today is your lucky day because Kelly joined me this week to tell me more on how we can all maximize our entrepreneurial success. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, buddy, and I'm super excited to learn all about your personal and professional life. Thank you so very much for being here, and thanks for a few minutes, buddy.
Thank you, Kevin. I can't wait. I am so excited. I appreciate you and what you're doing, what your cause is. Let's get rolling, baby.
Yeah, Brian, and I know that entrepreneurs hire you to sort of stand out in the marketplace and attract a steady stream of ideal clients. So I'm wondering if you could tell me all about the great work that you do, buddy.
Yeah, sure thing. What's happened is there's been a big thrust in the live video arena, as you probably are well aware of. And what I've found after doing this for over 10 years now of being a host of a live video show, that it's really come to a head where it's become one of the primary modes for not just marketing, but for people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And so the beautiful thing with it is when you conduct a live show of your own, what happens is folks become more quickly, you build rapport with them even without having met them. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they know what you're about if you do it in an authentic manner. And then when it comes time to actually conduct business, if there is a pain point you solve of theirs, the resistance level is minimal, if not completely gone as a result. So it's become a phenomenal tool for people to get to know the true you. And if they like the true you, they will be more apt to do business with you.
Yeah, and talking about that authentic you, I'm wondering you can just provide your perspective on how entrepreneurship has really changed and the advent of video and social media and how that really has become a competitive advantage.
It has, yeah, you're right, and it's so much easier to get reach, to get your audience in touch with you now than ever before, and it's become just a godsend because social media is one of the vehicles by which a lot of the live videos are broadcast to. We go to 11 platforms simultaneously each and every time we go live, as an example. And yeah, and then there's also podcasting, which we also repurpose into audio only versions of the show and also put that on 30 different podcasting platforms. So it's all about hitting every venue you possibly can find with everything you've got. I call it carpet bomb marketing. It's where you saturate the marketplace with your message. And so it helps business owners to build relationships. It's an amazing, amazing tool, and that's where marketing is and always has been. Marketing has gone through so many ebbs and flows, what works and what doesn't, but one constant has always been personal relationships. You build a personal relationship, and you have a much higher percentage rate of success.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Brian. I always say that life is a constant game of networking, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and that's it. It's networking, but it's doing it in the right way. It's not just, from the old days where you go to a seminar and you'd see those, I'd call them business card ninjas. They're throwing around their business cards like ninja stars. They're just handing them to everybody and anybody. And usually when that happens to me and I get a card like that, the first round file I find is where it ends up. I put it in the trash can because they didn't build any rapport. I don't know who they are, how they can help me. So networking is key, and live video has become one of the primary ways to really do it at a high quality level and to be able to network with especially your guests who you bring on your show. That's really where the juice is, and I teach that in a masterclass I hold free every month at peakmasterclass.com. It's something I just truly enjoy doing. I love helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, for any entrepreneurs who may be watching this or listening to it and want to take advantage of sort of the live show platform, but they're not really, for lack of a better term, camera savvy or shy to invest in the platform, what sort of advice would you have for them?
I get that a lot where some say either I'm not camera ready or maybe they don't like their own voice. And a lot of times their voice, even though it may be different, can be their asset because you're not like everyone else, which makes you more sought after. And that's a good thing. So I always like to tell folks that even if they don't think they have a good appearance on camera or their voice isn't what they would like it to be, that probably means that both are in the right place and that you should just start. And I always say start with the resources you have today. Go with the resources you can that you can afford today. Don't worry about upgrading to the greatest microphone and the greatest camera and the greatest lighting system. Always have it in your focus to do that as your business allows. So as you make money, reinvest some of it into upgrading your equipment. But my advice to everyone is do what you can with the resources you have. Make it as high quality as possible and just get started. Don't wait another moment. Just get started. If you have an idea, it's time to roll. And then one thing I always tell folks, Kevin, is especially your first 1 or 2 episodes, is just have someone on that you personally know as your guest. That way it makes the comfort level greater and you can ask them for honest feedback when it's over to help you improve the next one. Because I'll tell you right now, your first one is not gonna be good. It usually isn't, and that's okay. And that's why you want to start with somebody you know personally, that is in the same space as you, that can hold a good conversation with you, and that will provide you with honest feedback when it's over.
Yeah, Brian, when I go back and look at some of the reports that I did for college on camera, I look a lot better than I did about a dozen years ago, buddy. But that's neither here nor there, right?
That's right.
So, Brian, I'm also curious to ask you your definition of business prosperity and what it means to you to be inclusive when it comes to business.
Oh, goodness. I don't, this whole thing about inclusivity and things like that is foreign to me because that's the way I've always been internally. I don't look Look, I've got a mentor who literally could be my son by age. He's 18 years my junior, and I look up to him in many ways. And to me, race, gender, political affiliation, religion, I don't look at any of that. I look at what is that person, what are their values under the hood? What is that individual doing? Are they out serving others? Are they helping people? And are they doing it in such a way that isn't just money driven? I mean, let's take a step back. Money is important. We all need money. We all know we want money and need it, but it's not the thing that I personally focus on. I focus on the individual and what can I do for that individual. And I'll tell you, Kevin, every time I reset myself, because sometimes that goes away. It's just like working out. Sometimes you forget to go work out or you stop working out and you always say, man, I got to get back in the gym. It feels better. And so you go back to serving people. When you get back to that and your focus is on serving people, guess what? What you win, what you earn in return, money or joy or both, is many-fold greater than if you're all money-centric. That's just the way I roll.
Yeah, Brian, I always say that if you pay it forward, the results and rewards that you get personally will multiply, won't they?
Yes, I totally, completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked earlier about how you help entrepreneurs sort of saturate the market, and I also know that you help them sort of automate their strategies. So tell me about the importance of saturating the market and how it can be easily automated as well.
Yeah, great question. And automation is actually the key. And a lot of people kind of gasp when I teach this again in that masterclass. And that is, when I talk about automation, I'm not talking about replacing human beings with jobs. A lot of people go there thinking you're replacing humans with robots. And that's nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact, the automation is there to ensure that the communication is precise, on time, and of high quality. And if you have it automated, and I'm talking about communication with the guests that you're about to interview on your show, and far less than with the audience. Some is automated toward the audience, where we do posts to social media to alert them of upcoming shows. But the thing is, what it does is it presents yourself, your brand, and your company with the utmost sense of quality, professionalism, and precision. And so the perception from their end is just that. And that is what you're seeking, is you want the highest quality from A to Z, not just the video, not just the audio, but the communication is really most important to get that dialed in immediately. And then with that and automation, you can also plug that into getting massive exposure. Again, like I said, by repurposing on podcasts and other things. We also have our show on Roku and Amazon Fire TV channels, and that's what we do for our clients as well. So yeah, it's about massive exposure, which is really the result of, a good portion of it is a result of automation. But again, the most important part of automation from my point of view is the communication with the guest expert leading up to the show. And even after the show, we do some after the fact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, once you've created the exposure and gained sort of a following, what is your advice, or what do you tell people about how to maximize the exposure that they've just gained?
You know, it's interesting because the beautiful thing about getting the massive exposure is the juice lies, and a lot of people don't get this right away. Everyone who starts a podcast or a live show, they're looking for what are called vanity numbers, downloads, reviews, number of exposures to individuals. That's good, but folks should focus on the guests they are interviewing and establishing the relationship with that individual. Strategically bring on guests that fit your business mold. And the other thing is, I always say my show is not my business. It's not. I don't talk about my business on it unless they ask during the show, but I'm the one conducting the interviewing, asking the questions. So you want to make sure that your show is relevant, and then you want to also, when you get that massive exposure, what happens is these guests that are coming on your show, if they are doing any kind of research whatsoever, they will not be able to not find you out there, because you've been everywhere on all of these podcasting platforms and all these live video platforms, all these recorded video platforms, on-demand channel, TVs, channels, and the like. So it's really about getting the exposure so that when folks go to do any kind of research on you, their resistance and hesitation to reach out to you be much less, if any at all.
Yeah, and Brian, I know that you also believe that it's important that people have sort of a snappy or catchy way to sort of market themselves as an entrepreneur. So tell me about having the one word to describe yourself as an entrepreneur and how important that is to gaining exposure.
Oh, driven. That one's easy. Driven. I have a drive like, well, a lot of people have drive, but my drive is on overdrive. I'm always very driven to get the best results, and I'm always, you know, I'm guest and client centric. I want them to get the results that they came for, and I want to actually give them more than they came for, over deliver. And I'm driven very strongly to do just that each and every day. And that's what keeps me going every day in and day out, is wondering and figuring out different ways and additional ways to make it an even better experience. I never stop improving, ever. Always looking for different tools, resources, people, things that will help take it to yet another incredible level.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm curious to also ask you, in terms of challenging yourself to optimize your own personal potential, how do you challenge yourself to be better both personally and professionally?
That's a really good question. It's all about self-reflection, and every day, did I do everything I should? Did I take care of myself physically? Did I eat and drink the right things nutritionally? And it's all about showing up with all you have for the people that you're serving. It's the challenge for me is always about, how do I get more done in the day than I'm doing the prior day? And it just seems to keep stacking up bigger and better. And that's what happens when businesses grow. People think they get easier, that they can just go lay on their hammock and swing back and forth and sip on that umbrella drink, and nothing could be farther from the truth. The more successful you become, the more effort and work is required. So it's about scaling your business, bringing on a team and scaling the team and increasing them and getting your SOPs in place. I love every aspect of this. And so, yeah, I don't know if I answer your question, because I go off on tangents now and then, but
Yeah, absolutely. I have the same problem. I get excited about something and I just keep going. It's like the Energizer Bunny, Brian, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Brian, I'm also curious to ask you about maintaining a positive mindset, which allows you to be productive. You seem to be a very energetic guy. So tell me, how do you help people sort of stay motivated to stay committed?
Yeah, boy, that's a deep question. There are many layers to that one. First and foremost would be to get yourself, your own house in order, your own mindset. And I did that by becoming NLP certified, Neuro-Linguistic Programming certified, about 10 years ago. And that was a life changer for me. And I don't use that phrase very often for anything. And once I got my internal house in order in my mind, then I was able to use that to then utilize what I learned from that to then not impose, but help folks that I see could use that. Like, we'll do a lot of pre-framing. When I screen clients and when I screen guests, I make sure that they're a good fit up front. One of the big things a lot of people do is they will, as a business owner, if someone has a credit card and a heartbeat, they'll take them as a client. I don't do that. I've got to understand and learn. Are they willing to put in some effort? Are they flexible? Do they have a positive, but most importantly, flexible mindset? And so I filter and screen people before I bring them in, because when people are in the scarcity mindset, they'll take anyone with a credit card. Look, I was there. We've all been there. We all started somewhere. But get out of that as fast as you humanly can, so that your time won't be spent dealing with those kind of clients and customers that can drag you and your business down because you didn't pre-screen them properly.
Yeah, and Brian, for me personally, when it comes to business, I always tell people that you make time for the priorities that are important to you, both in life and professionally. So tell me about the importance of prioritizing the things that are important to you, and how do you define that for yourself personally?
Yeah, for me, it's yeah, I've been down this path too, where I got a little crazy. I enjoy doing what I do so much that I ended up neglecting my own family. This is going back many years ago, and thankfully, my wife took me to the side and had a chat and said, "Things have to change. We don't see you for dinner. I'm literally upstairs, and they're asking me to come down to dinner, and I was too busy." And so that was a great wake up call, and it still on occasion will creep in, and I'll notice it and realize it. My family is the most important thing to me beside God in my life. And so one way to get around that happening is to schedule it. I now have a calendar where my wife has a calendar too. We share the calendar with each other. So now I can see when she has important events coming up, or if we want to schedule something together, we can put it on our calendar. That way it becomes a priority, and that slot now is no longer taken for my business calendar. So it's all integrated and synchronized that way. So it's very important to prioritize your time and your life. I mean, my whole reason for doing business, for being so driven, is for my family, for my wife. She is my why. So that's where my priority should be always at all times. And sometimes it does escape me because I get so ingrained in what I love to do. But I'm always privy of it. And thankfully, because of what she did years ago, I will never go down to that horrible path I did back then to that extent. And now and then she'll give me a little nudge, which I'll go, yeah, I got you. You're right. I'll come back.
Everything in moderation. And I have to tell you, those automated calendar, automated calendars are a godsend, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, brother, when that first came into my life, ooh, baby, yes. Oh my goodness. I beat the heck out of my calendar, and I say that in a loving way. I hit it multiple times a day to ensure that I'm on spot. Be sure I'm here on time for your podcast interview, for all kinds of things, to see what my wife has on the calendar. I was just asking her that today. We have an appointment to take her to on Wednesday that I'm going to be there for her, and that day is now completely off of the books for my business in the calendar system. Yeah, it's been an absolute godsend. So, yeah, for those of you that may not have any kind of calendar system yet, I implore of you to get that up and running immediately, and then use Google Calendar to do the synchronization with your personal activities. That way, you'll never miss a beat.
Yeah, I have a problem, Brian, with saying no to things, right? Because I'm asked to do some charitable stuff and some other stuff. So my new philosophy, Brian, is if it's not on my calendar, I don't do it anymore, right?
That's a very good, yeah, that's good, great advice to follow. And then, if it's something you really want to do, just make sure that the slot is available on your calendar. And if it's not, you want to look at what's already there and then make that determination then. But I'm a fan of, if I make a commitment to somebody because my calendar was open, they chose that slot, I do everything in my power to stay good to that commitment, and everything else must adjust around it, unless it's a very, deep, big personal issue or something other than that. But I try to stay true to the commitments that are made on the calendar as they stand today.
It's a lot easier to maintain commitments and then try to cancel them and reschedule them, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I've been
Yes.
there myself. Yeah. So, Brian, I'm also wondering your thoughts because I know that you say that there are sometimes you can use a formula or a pattern to be a successful entrepreneur, but how do you do that without sort of seeming or coming across as robotic or uninterested? I'm curious.
Gosh, you have great questions. That's very deep as well. Well, one of the things is you want to go at everything with energy. And I know that everyone has a different personality, but think about amping up your energy outwardly a little bit to others more than you normally would, and get in the habit of doing that so that it becomes natural. I've gotten so many comments about that, Kevin. You even mentioned it just a moment ago. I wasn't always like that. I was very subdued and didn't really care to talk to people that much. Now I can't get enough of it, and I love it, and it brings out the love and joy in my being to do that. And so, yeah, just go at things with a higher level of energy, and really get up in the morning and be somebody of gratitude. Go through the things you're very happy for, and you have gratitude for, like even small things. Thank you for the ability to open my eyes and see. Thank you for the ability to feel the carpet underneath my feet when I wake up. Thank you for given me the house that I have, the ability to have that, for the ability to smell. I mean, it could be the more ridiculous it may sound, and that you can make it, the better, and get in the habit of doing that. And you'll notice that you'll start feeling differently. You'll love getting up in the morning. You can't wait to hit the day. I could not wait this morning, Kevin. I was like, I can't. Every morning I wake up a little bit and I'm like, man, I don't want to wake up yet, but now that my mind's alive, I got to get up. I can't stay here because I'm excited for all the things that I knew I was going to be doing today, including this interview as well.
Yeah, Brian, I get up this morning at 6:30, so I'm a light sleeper. So as soon as I hear noise, I'm not up and wanting to get the day started. So I'm there as well. So I'm also curious to ask you about how that mindset translates to business in the sense of how do you develop contagious good habits in business?
Yeah, it is. I call it the baseline, the cornerstone of one's either success or lack thereof is one's mindset. And so it's so important to have that dialed in. And I'm telling you right now, everyone listening, that neuro-linguistic programming is a magical science. It's a science. It's not magical, but the results are magical. And I became a lead trainer for my mentor years ago. He was in the seminar industry and he taught NLP. And I learned it at a very deep level, how to use it when talking to folks, how to use it when you're down a little bit. You can fire off an anchor as an example and bring your emotional state right back to on point. I like to fire off an anchor right before I go on interviews like this one. It gets me excited, energized. And you can change your mental state in an instant. And that's the beautiful thing. We as humans, we all have a choice. We can either decide to go through life and be the victim and say, oh, all these circumstances are what are affecting my life and that's why I'm here. Or you can let your attitude dictate your circumstances. I choose the latter. We all have a choice. Once you get in the habit of making that choice, you will see things change in dramatic ways.
Yeah, as you know, Brian, I was born with cerebral palsy, and a lot of people tell me that I'm an inspirational person, and I simply tell them that I live my life. And what I tell them, Brian, is that I try to make my circumstances work for me instead of me working for my circumstances, right?
Oh yeah, and it's so evident with you, Kevin. You're an amazing man, and I appreciate you because you are a role model, and that is what so many people need, is a good bona fide role model. And when I say that word, I think of you. You're an amazing guy.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy. And my final question for you this afternoon has to do with your own personal and professional legacy and how you want that to be defined.
Just someone who loved to serve others with everything he's got. I love people. I love helping people. I just want to be known as someone who was there when anyone needed a hand. I don't look at every transaction does not have to involve money. It does not. In fact, if I could, I would rather do it all for no money because the joy I get in helping someone is immense. And I just hope that would be part of my legacy, is that I was always that person that strove to help others who were in need of anything, whatever it was, personal or business.
Yeah, building bridges of inclusion is important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, tell me, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that, buddy?
Well, they cannot not find me anymore because of everything we've been talking about. But if they just look up Brian Kelly, I know there are a lot of us out there of my name. But if they can see this video, they can see me. Brian Carl Kelly is on Facebook, and you can go to reachyourpeakllc.com, or there's brianckelly.com. There's lots of different ways to reach out. And through those, you'll see links to Facebook and LinkedIn and other ways. So it's impossible not to find a way to connect with me based on everything we've put into place up to this point, which is the intent. And so, yeah, and then peakmasterclass.com. Once a month or so, I put that on. I've done 20 of them now. It's free, no charge, nothing's for sale. It's 100% just value for those who are looking to get into or improve their live video shows that they are currently or about to embark on.
Well, Brian, I'm better for having this conversation, and I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me and all the great work that you do to help entrepreneurs maximize their fullest potential, my friend. I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to thank you for the time. It's most appreciated.
Thank you, Kevin. I thank you as well. I appreciate you too, buddy.